of me. Now, being the oldest child by 4.5 years, my younger sister would often tell me, you're not the boss of me. But you know, if you're an older sibling, you tend to like to be in charge. You like to keep family order, keep everyone in line, but it's sometimes the younger one who steps up and says, you are not the boss of me. On some level, I can imagine Jesus saying this to the temple authorities. Perhaps Jesus does better by responding with a question to a question. See, there is precedence for this. But it doesn't set well because they wonder, well, if we say this, we're going to upset this crowd. If we say this, we upset the other side. And so sometimes in life, we sort of go down the middle, afraid of offending either side, so we just play neutral. Now, the interesting thing about today's text is that it's intertwined with all kinds of stories and meaning. And it's almost like a riddle Jesus asked. We asked one child to go out and they say, no way, and the other one says, yes, I'll do it. But then they switch roles and actually one decides they will go out and the other decides not. But the meaning of the story is, in my opinion, is that it's not about absolute authority, who's in charge, even though the older child wants to be in charge. It is that sometimes we don't need any authority at all. Now, I'm not saying go out and do whatever you like to do after worship today, but what I'm saying is consider the authority in our lives and when it's needed and not. For often we fear that if we do something, it will change everything. But I think what Jesus is trying to get to us at today is to remind us that no authority is needed to do the right thing. It doesn't matter whether you consider yourself the lowest or the greatest. When the time comes and we are called to act in ways of justice, love, and peace, we do not need to gather the assembly to say, is it okay if I love this group of people? It is as if Jesus is saying, those that we want to throw out the door often are those who are the most compassionate and loving, and it's okay. You don't need any authority to love them and to accept them. But the challenge is when we decide there are different classes of people and that some are more worthy of love while others are at the bottom. It's been my experience in life when it comes to terms of generosity that sometimes those who give the most of themselves are often those who have very little. It is those who will reach in and give their last quarters and pennies because they believe it will benefit someone even more. Now, I'm not saying forget giving big gifts, because I know the treasurer and the financial secretary are sitting out there looking at me right now. But what I am saying is when we give of ourselves, we don't need any permission. Sometimes we live in a world and in a community and a nation where we think we need permission so we don't upset the apple cart, if you will. But the good news is that when we are asked, do the right thing. It's not that hard. Was John baptizing from divine or human will? Doesn't matter. What we are called to do is to give up the authority and stop asking permission. For we need no permission to love, to encounter, and to change the world. For when we give of ourselves and accept others just as we have been accepted, there's no authority needed in that, except to change the world for the better. Amen.